How's it feel to be on YouTube?
I like it. I think of all of the places where people are putting their work, it's one of the ones that shares more of the revenue, from what I can tell.
Do you know what percentage of the revenue you receive?
Nope.
There's just a number that you get and you're like, I guess that's how much
There's
we
a
made.
number. It's been going up. It's small, but compared to the other platforms, I think it's decent.
And do you think that's where the future of video journalism is headed? Everyone's just going to have their own island on YouTube?
Yeah, I think that people who are smart in video are setting up a channel there. The thing that's really getting things shaken up is the short form format, because the ad model there is different. People are not choosing what they watch. It's just being decided for them, and then they just decide how long they watch it. And you can't put an ad read in the middle of a 2-minute video. That would be weird. So the monetization is difficult. So if everybody's attention shifts from longer form videos to the short form videos, it's harder for the creators, I think.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if, like, I guess similar to how all the big channels and production companies started doing streaming just because they felt like they had to compete with Netflix, but then they destroyed their own business model. Will YouTube do the same, where they feel like they have to compete with TikTok, and because of that, they'll actually just destroy the demand for a longer form video, which is what their bread and butter was and where they made money.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I think right now all of the numbers are going up for them, so they're probably not too worried about it, but I'm kind of worried about it when I see how much of our growth is driven by short form viewers. They don't tend to hop over to the 15-minute videos.
Well, that's
15 minutes. That's insanity.
It's many minutes.
Well, I find the same where like a TikTok follower is not worth much at all because, and definitely a viewer is not worth anything because they're not actively choosing you
Right.
at all, and they have no real relationship with you. The content is just coming
Yeah.
to them, and you're just one of like 1,000 people they saw when in like a session. So you're not special, and everything kind of blends together, and they're just like, oh yeah, that woman I've seen a few times, but they're not like that. The attachment is not there like it would, I think, used to be with YouTube, or it's traditionally with like whatever PewDiePie or something.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys go to your following tab on TikTok?
Not really, no.
No,
Because you
never.
assume the algorithm knows better what to give you.
Yeah.
You don't want the bad versions of the people that you follow. You only want the good stuff. So that's the genius of the algorithm. It's good for the platforms, but it's not necessarily great for us.
Yeah,
I'm like a dinosaur when it comes to YouTube. I don't want to believe that YouTube is growing and
You're not watching any YouTube?
I watch a lot of YouTube, but I feel I just have this irrational reverence for legacy media.
yeah, I think I do too.
I'm just blowing past all the red flags. Every newsletter about the entertainment industry is just telling me how the industry is dying. And I'm over here just working on my screenplays. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sell a TV show. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, I feel the same way
so
where
foolish.
Every like goal that I had, or that was like a status symbol or a symbol of success when I started comedy in like 2013, is now completely gone. And like whatever,
What
Just
were
for
they?
Laughs festival, 5 minutes on Conan, a sitcom, like writing jobs, like all these are, and the writing jobs are now like 3 weeks and it's 6 people and they don't pay anything. Like, you know, it's all gone and irrelevant. Jimmy Fallon is just making content for YouTube, like,
I mean,
like you are.
Even Jimmy Fallon's show, they reduced it to 4 nights a week.
Yeah, and I'm sure that then whoever's going to be hired next for those roles is like not going to be paid nearly as much, and I think that's going to be mostly focused on like getting web content. But it's weird that like I really wanted to get a following on the internet and on TikTok and Instagram, so I could then have opportunity to, you know, and even start a podcast, so I could have opportunities to do bigger, quote unquote, bigger things. But now it seems like actually the way to make money is through TikTok and through a podcast, and through that's how comedians make money.
Yeah. And it's crazy how quickly it's changed. I was thinking about like what mass culture we have left. And it wasn't that long ago that we were all watching the same TV show that a giant team, hundreds of people spent years making, and we would talk about the episodes. And now it's like Haktua, which was like a lovely little whatever that someone happened to capture. That's what mass culture is now. It's like,
But it's memes. It's all like, oh. I mean, she managed to really capitalize on a meme like no one.
good for her.
I feel like that's the new comedy though. Is like the only way to go viral anymore is that it has to come from this genuine extemporaneous moment. Like nothing can feel planned, because I think Gen Alpha and Gen Z, their comedic sensibilities are one in which, like, if anything's planned or written, it feels very cringe.
Yeah.
Like they don't like effort because it reads as inauthentic.
Yeah. I mean, that's why TikTok is just like America's Funniest Home Videos, but like if everything was that, because you're
Yeah.
competing against everyone's funniest moment that has happened
Like
on
my
Earth.
prediction is that influencers going forward are just going to be like random people, and if you hit the lottery, then great, but you can't like strive for it.
And try as little as possible, because
Yeah,
trying is cringe.
trying is
Trying
cringe.
is cringe.
Such a bummer. I try
And
hard.
you try really hard.
I try
on-
really
in
hard.
Howtown.
You
And I'm
spend
like
so
very
much time.
earnest, and I care a lot. And it may be that there's that the millennial audience that we have just kind of ages with us and supports us along the way, or it just won't work and we'll figure out something else to do.
I was gonna ask, like, from the inception of Vox Video, you have a like a knack for virality. You know, with Vox, you've sort of codified this like style of explainer video with like slick graphics, and it's really eye catching. Have you noticed since your departure from Vox and starting Howtown, your shorts are going viral, but is the formula still the same? Like, have you had to like make any adjustments between those
Yeah.
two stages?
I mean, it's definitely harder than we thought to get people to watch our longer videos. I think that half of that has to do with the fact that there's way more interesting stuff to watch than there was in 2014 when we started Vox. So a lot of
Have you thought about burying someone alive and seeing if they'll get out if you give them $100,000?
we haven't thought about that.
What about thumbnails?
Thumbnails, yeah, that's the thing, is like people do these tricks because they really work. You know, having the Mr. Beast face expression thing seems to work. Doing these headlines that are all like the best, the biggest, the truth about
Destroys.
yes, all of that.
Jordan Peterson destroys young college student.
We should do that one.
You should do that one.
But it really does work if you're going for a mass audience, and that's where I'm feeling myself being less interested in going for the audiences that we were going for at Vox, because I think they're, as you mentioned, just like not loyal. It's, you try to grab their attention as they're surfing around. I like to think that there's a smaller group of people who are very interested in what we're doing, and that's why we've set up a Patreon, not to like plug the Patreon, but I actually really do like that company. And I think that there are people able to make a living on their niche content with a small group of folks who care about it.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a few people I follow also, and they just like make video essays on Patreon, and I don't know, maybe 1,000 people like it, but that's kind of enough to make
Yeah.
a living. And is that going to be the future? You think everyone just kind of has like 1,000 people who support them, and they just hobble along and they have a little community?
A lot of people do. The question is, are we tired of signing up for things? You know, I pay for a lot of newsletters, and I think I'm kind of slowing down my rate of signing up for those, because at some point you're like, I have too many subscriptions.
Yeah, I have way too many Substack subscriptions. Also,
Yeah.
with Patreon, the founder Jack Conte, he's like popping up on my algorithm, making content himself, doing podcasts. It makes me think less of Patreon as a company now.
That he's doing that he feels like he has
I'm like,
to?
you have a publicly traded company to run, man. Like, you don't have time to be making content.
Dude, he
with
wants to do
celebrities.
the Gary V model. That's that you make
like,
an ass out of yourself
You need to
publicly, and then people.
I don't want any of that front-facing shit. Just stay in the back end and run a company.
But he was always a creator.
Yeah, it was in a band.
Do you remember the band from back in the
Pamplemousse.
days? Yeah.
Yeah,
He was in Pamplemousse?
yeah, it was.
He's
that was
half of it.
band.
That's my LaCroix flavor.
Okay, that was Middlebrow.